In today's gospel, we have these really strong words of Jesus. For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. Now we can look at these things either positively or negatively. And I think when we read this, whatever our initial inclination is probably gives us a good hint at where we're at. Are we a person who measures negatively? Always looking at what I'm not doing? Or are we focusing on measuring positively so that we can give everything? Just like in sports, a coach measures the kinds of attention and playing that he's going to give his athletes by looking at the measure by which the individual players bring to every practice. And so with God, I think it's very similar, is that God's looking every day, who's going to show up? And then how do we measure that? Doesn't matter if we're going to have our difficulties that day. We always have our difficulties. Maybe we wake up, we're not morning people, and we struggle to get going. God knows that. But he's asking, how are you going to measure this day? If you measure it just on your own limitations, your day gets very depressing. And that depressing part then goes to everything else. Then it's the negative part of this, where Jesus says, stop judging and you will not be judged. Stop condemning and you will not be condemned. Then it becomes positive. Forgive and you will be forgiven. Give and gifts will be given to you. If you're giving 100% all the time in what you're doing, you don't have time to get into the negative. Instead, you are focusing on what God wants you to do. And because God is infinite, there's always more that he can be leading you to. And so he's looking for those who are all in. And when you're all in, you inspire everybody else who's struggling beneath you. So that's what I want to focus on when it comes to the measure with which we measure, is see that positively and allow God to be your measure, because God is without measure. In other words, with God, all things are possible. So no matter what difficulty we have, give 100% in your business, in your family, and of course in your faith. This is what characterized the saints. They thought bigger than anybody could imagine, and they were laughed and they were mocked at. But you know what? They won the prize and they have it for all eternity.